7 decades have passed since the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. Now, around 80 new fragments of these ancient texts are being revealed to the public. These fragments are being deciphered 2,000 years later, thanks in part to artificial intelligence. Deep beneath the desert, they were sealed away. These scrolls are 2,000 years old, written in a language few could read and even fewer dared to understand. Why was the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls so significant? This discovery shifted the extant copies back by 1,000 years. For decades, scholars argued over their meanings. Recently, a cutting-edge AI cracked part of the code, and what it uncovered has thrown everything into chaos. Scientists are in open conflict. Religious leaders are demanding silence because hidden in those ancient texts is a message someone doesn't want the world to see. The deeper we dig, the more it looks like this mystery was never meant to be solved. It wasn't advanced machines that found the Dead Sea Scrolls. It was just luck that Bedouin shepherds happened to walk by a cave near Qumran and find something strange. What they found inside would change the world of history, religion, and science. On the rocky floor of the dark cave, some clay jars were scattered. These jars contained fragile scrolls, yellowed and crumbling at the edges, hidden away for ages. Some had loosened slightly to reveal faded Hebrew script. Others were still tightly bound. These manuscripts weren't just any old artifacts, they were some of the first handwritten copies of the Hebrew scriptures. But that was where the mystery began. No one knew exactly who had written them. Were they scribes from a forgotten community? Prophets, monks, or rebels hiding from Roman soldiers? And no one knew for sure why they had been hidden in caves. Many historians believe a Jewish sect called the Essenes may have copied and protected these writings. Some believe the scrolls were meant to protect sacred secrets from an invading army. Others thought they were hiding knowledge meant only for future generations. And the big question still remained: what did they really say? The Dead Sea Scrolls included everything from biblical texts to Jewish sectarian writings. They contained deeds of sale and even records of marriages. But there was a problem: many of the scrolls were broken, burned, or faded. Some were no bigger than a fingertip, written in ancient languages like Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, making most impossible to read. The scrolls weren't all the same. Some contained parts of the Bible, while others had laws, songs, or strange visions. Many scrolls were broken into tiny pieces, burned, or faded, making reading them extremely difficult. Scholars from around the world studied the scrolls, trying to match the pieces, but many remained unreadable. They were written in different languages like Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, so the task wasn't easy, and the meanings were often unclear. People worked for many years, and while they were able to understand some scrolls, others stayed quiet and hard to figure out. But one big question stayed in everyone's minds: what if the parts no one could read hid amazing secrets? Could they have changed what we knew about the Bible or ancient history? Could something powerful have been locked inside the letters that no one had ever read? The mystery grew deeper, and no one could find the answers. Until now. Scientists are using a super smart tool called quantum AI to read old writings that were previously impossible to understand. What they're learning could totally change how we think about history, belief, and who we are as people. So, what did they discover? We'll get to that in a bit, but first, let's get to know about the amazing tool that made it all possible. Quantum AI is changing the way we see ancient history, and what it's uncovering is blowing everyone's minds. For years, experts carefully put together the Dead Sea Scrolls like the world's hardest puzzle, matching tiny, broken pieces by hand. It was slow, and they could only guess at what was missing. But now, with the power of quantum technology, things that used to take years can happen in just seconds. This new AI handles things quickly, but what's impressive is how well it figures them out. It can see hidden writing on pieces of parchment that look totally blank to the human eye. It finds patterns and links between scrolls that no one even thought were connected. Some scrolls have even turned out to be much older than we thought, maybe written when the people in the Bible were still alive. Even more amazing, this AI doesn't give just one possible answer. Instead, it provides several smart guesses, each one with its own chance of being right. It's like seeing many different versions of the past at once. All around the world, in high-tech labs, scientists are using this tool to unlock secrets. These secrets have stayed hidden for over 2,000 years, and they're only just getting started. Before now, dating the Dead Sea Scrolls was mostly guesswork. Experts could only say they dated somewhere between 300 years before Jesus and 200 years after. They used handwriting to estimate the age, a method called paleography. But there was a big problem. No one had any scrolls from that exact time to compare with. It was like trying to figure out how old a letter is just by how the writer held their pen. Not very reliable. That's where quantum AI comes in. Using 24 scrolls that were dated with radiocarbon science, this smart system learned to spot writing styles. It matched them with real years. Like a high-tech detective, it connected old ink to solid dates. For the first time, we're not guessing anymore. We're seeing history as it becomes timed, tagged, and revealed. And what it's finding might just shake up everything we thought we knew. At the center of this discovery was a powerful new tool, an advanced AI called Enoch. It was designed to study ancient scrolls, not just by reading the words, but by analyzing every detail of the handwriting. This includes the shape, slant, and thickness of letters. Enoch trained itself using thousands of old samples. Then it used advanced math to estimate the age of the scrolls. Its results were surprisingly accurate, often only 30 years off from the real date. This was better than many scientific dating methods. Also, real machines like Google's Sycamore and IBM's Q System 1 are pushing the limits of what's possible. They're no longer just ideas from science fiction. They're here, and they're learning fast. The question is, what will they discover next? What the AI found next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about history, religion, and ancient texts. And trust me, this is just the beginning of something even more incredible. When Enoch studied two well-known writing styles, Hasmonean and Herodian, it discovered something surprising. Historians had believed that one style came after the other, like chapters in a book. But Enoch revealed that both styles were actually used at the same time. This meant that Jewish scribes didn't simply move on to newer ways of writing. Instead, they chose to keep using the older style, possibly to hold on to their traditions during a time of big changes in their world. Then came the biggest moment. Enoch studied fragments from the books of Daniel and Ecclesiastes and discovered that they were written during the same period when those books were originally believed to have been created. That means they could be the original writings, not later copies, but the first versions ever made. Researchers also used Enoch to study the writing on more than 130 other scrolls. What they found was shocking. Most of the dates Enoch gave were much older than what people thought before. Some scrolls that were believed to come from the Qumran community were actually written before anyone lived there. This means the scrolls must have come from somewhere else. The study also showed that some Bible scrolls might be much older than we first believed. Enoch didn't just help scientists date scrolls, it changed the way we understand history. It revealed how people held on to their culture, how writing styles told deeper stories, and how some ancient texts may be more authentic than we ever imagined. Just when it seemed like the AI had done the impossible by uncovering ancient secrets hidden in plain sight, it took things even further. It revealed clues that could rewrite everything we thought we knew. Quantum AI looked at the Dead Sea Scrolls using special high-tech cameras and smart computer programs. What it found wasn't just interesting, it was a little spooky. As the computers studied the old scrolls with faded Hebrew writing, they noticed something strange. There were secret patterns hidden in the words. These weren't just repeated phrases or poetry, they looked like codes similar to those used in modern science. These patterns weren't random. They followed special rules, just like secret codes do. The scroll showed number sequences, repeats, and groups that reminded scientists of prime numbers and binary code. This helped show that the patterns in the Dead Sea Scrolls were like modern encryption systems. It also supported the idea that the scrolls used clear number sequences that followed math rules instead of being random. But here's the crazy part. These codes are used in technology that didn't exist until thousands of years later. Then things got even weirder. Researchers noticed that patterns in the Dead Sea Scrolls matched star positions found in ancient Chinese star charts. When researchers compared these patterns to old star maps, they found that the scrolls lined up with star positions. This suggested that the scrolls may have contained more than just religious or literary writings. Quantum AI is also uncovering patterns that suggest ancient texts concealed controversial knowledge about cosmology, hierarchy, and spiritual power. Many early cultures guarded sacred wisdom for initiates, but clear signs of esoteric teachings in early Jewish writings challenged the notion of Judaism as solely communal. This discovery could reshape how we view the origins of Jewish mysticism and early Christianity, revealing that ideas found in medieval Kabbalah or Gnostic traditions may trace back to ancient Jewish roots. Such teachings were encrypted to protect them from misuse or suppression. Whether seen as divine codes or encrypted archives, these revelations made possible by quantum AI offer a deeper hidden layer of history. So what does this mean? Did the people who wrote the scrolls know something big, something that connected math, space, and language? And sometimes the biggest discoveries come from the smallest things, like a tiny ink spot or a strange letter. One little scroll even seemed to describe a solar event, a change in the sun that didn't happen until many years later. As quantum AI finds strange number codes in the Dead Sea Scrolls, experts are split. Some say it's just random. Others think it's a secret message from the past. Could this change how we see history and faith? As quantum AI kept reading the Dead Sea Scrolls, something shocking emerged. It had found two small pieces of writing that could have been the oldest parts of the Bible ever discovered. These pieces were called 4Q Daniel C and 4QQ Ohelata. Scientists now believe the scrolls were written while the original authors were still alive. That idea surprised many people. Before this, most experts thought the texts were copied or changed many years after the authors had died. They believed the scrolls were second-hand versions passed down and rewritten over time. But new findings suggest these might be the first versions written by the authors themselves. If that's true, it means we are reading their real words just as they wrote them. This has changed how people think about the scrolls and what they might mean. Daniel's scroll might have been written in the 160s BCE. Ecclesiastes could have been even older, perhaps from the 240s BCE. Many had believed King Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes in the 900s before the Common Era. But now that belief was being questioned. This created a lot of debate. Teachers, historians, and religious leaders all began talking. Some felt excited while others were upset or confused. The idea that we might be reading the words of people who lived through the events themselves was powerful. The scrolls made people look at the Bible in a new way. If these texts were that old, then maybe parts of the Bible had been written closer to the time of the events. This made the Bible feel more real to some people, but it also brought up hard questions. If the dates were correct, what else could be different from what we believed? What parts of history might need to be rewritten? There was more mystery too. Experts did not agree on where the scrolls had come from. Some said a group called the Essenes had written or gathered them. They had lived quietly near a place called Qumran. Others believed the scrolls came from the great libraries of Jerusalem and were hidden during times of war. A few thought they came from many places and reflected different beliefs. No one truly knew the answer. The fact that these scrolls stayed hidden for over 2,000 years made people wonder even more. Has someone tried to protect them from harm? Were they hidden on purpose, waiting for the right time to be found? What if they held messages for people in the future? Maybe they were secrets not meant to be read until now, or maybe they were warnings we needed to understand. Some people felt it was a miracle. Others thought it was just luck. As more experts looked at the scrolls, they found even more questions. Why were some words spelled in strange ways? Why were certain books included and others left out? Were there missing books we had never seen before? Every answer led to more mystery. And for curious minds, that only made it more exciting. But sometimes answers lead to even bigger questions. Each answer brought more questions, but that was what made it so exciting. The scrolls might change how people saw the Bible and history itself. And for curious minds, the mystery had only just begun. Now, with the smart tools of quantum AI finding words that had been hidden for hundreds of years, what once looked like old broken pieces from the past started to tell their story again. They didn't just give new facts, they also brought new questions, surprising ideas, and a better look into the beliefs and ways of life of people from long ago. As quantum AI continued its work decoding the Dead Sea Scrolls, researchers around the world grew more curious. The technology had already helped identify ancient Hebrew script and separate overlapping texts. That was no small task. These scrolls had been damaged by time, water, fire, and even past restoration attempts. Yet new software trained in artificial intelligence began to piece them back together. The scrolls were being seen in new ways that scholars of the past could only imagine. Historians, linguists, and programmers joined forces across countries. Teams in Israel, the United States, and Europe shared findings through online databases and digital libraries. The Israel Antiquities Authority continued to photograph fragments using multispectral imaging. This method revealed ink and markings not visible to the human eye. Artificial intelligence could now identify patterns in ancient handwriting. That helped scholars figure out which pieces once belonged to the same scroll. Even if they were separated for thousands of years, the scrolls had more to tell. New studies hinted that some parts might be older than expected. Others showed different versions of well-known biblical books. In some cases, scholars found words and phrases that did not match traditional Bibles. That raised new questions. Were these early edits? Were they signs of different communities telling similar stories in their own ways? Or did these fragments belong to books that had been forgotten over time? The software kept improving. It learned from the fragments it had already seen. Each scan made the next scan smarter. The more it read, the more it understood. And it worked much faster than human hands ever could. What once took years could now take weeks or even days. For scholars, this was like discovering a whole new library beneath layers of sand and stone. Some scrolls were found in jars deep inside caves near Qumran. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a collection of more than 900 scrolls found inside caves in the middle of the Judean desert, very close to the Dead Sea. Others might still be buried or lost. The scrolls that had already been found came from 11 caves, but people believed more might exist. With the help of AI, every small piece could be matched and studied like never before. The journey was far from over. In fact, many researchers said it was just beginning. There were still thousands of fragments left to read. If even a few of them held unknown stories or names, they could change how people understood ancient history. What else might quantum AI uncover from our past? We just saw quantum AI read a scroll that had been hidden and silent for centuries. What it found could change how we see our past. But here's the real question. Should sacred texts be decoded by machines, or are some mysteries meant to stay untouched by time? Because if one scroll was just the beginning, imagine what could happen when quantum AI deciphers them all. Could prophecy and physics finally meet? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you still want to watch something like this, click on the next video on your screen.